departments, but there are also percentage of steps that is unique to each department. So today we'll guide you through the different steps on what to do in the student design, from the process of a pre-registration now until the finishing your SD2 within 2 semesters from now, inshallah. So quickly, what's going to be covered today? I will try to go as quick as possible, given that we have a lot of topics to be covered in here. The one that you will be focusing on is selecting your SD project. We'll see also other topics as to how to access the SD lab, the grading, what are the deliverables of SD, how the evaluation is done, some tips for writing the report and preparing the presentation and delivering the poster, notes on plagiarism, the funding for the project, and the surveys that must be done during the work in SD course in general. Okay, by the way, all of the slides is already available on the website that I have sent you before. So it's this file, the IEEE guidelines. So everything is already available in advance. So I'm not going to add anything new here. Just merely going to focus on a question-answer session in case there is anything ambiguous or not clear and you want to be sure about it. So right now you are in the step where you are going to take student design next semester, or should I say next year, and you want to select your project on which one you will be working on. So there are 2 ways to select the project. So you can wait for faculty members to submit their own proposal. Okay, the proposal template is available. So even if you want to make your own proposal, that's the second method. That's also possible. So the template that is used for faculty members to fill the details. So it's the same for students and faculty members alike. So as a committee, we take care of this task. So they are given until 28th of March to submit SD proposals. And once all of these proposals are ready, they will be displayed in the EE department office window. So by 15th of April, after the holiday Eid, the list of submitted proposal from faculty members will be displayed. So you can check it and then talk to the advisor or the one who submitted the proposal to see if he's going to accept you to take the SD project with him or with her. Or if no proposal suits you, or you have your own idea even now that you want to work on, you can write your own proposal. However, I understand that you have lacking experience into writing SD proposal. In this case, you can seek help from faculty members, especially those who are likely to be your SD advisor or whose field of expertise aligns with your idea. So if your idea is within the field of power, for example, in this case, there is Dr. Aqir or Dr. Mayat that can help you. If it is in the field of communication, there is Dr. Shakhs, Dr. Arfash, Dr. Hadar. It is in the field of programming or digital signal. There is, for example, Dr. Borsi or Dr. Zaid, and so on. So it's up to you to find which is the most suitable faculty member that can help you writing this proposal. So you will divide what is the task that you want or you will be working on. So writing in a more professional way that will make it clear and increase its chance of acceptance by the SD committee. And once the proposal is ready, it has to be submitted online. You can let the advisor that you have or the faculty member that you worked with to create a proposal, you can let him do the submission for you. So it's kind of an unofficial agreement that he will be your SD advisor for that project. Or you can submit it by yourself online. So the link is available on here. So all the links in the presentation redirect to the same website. So from this website, I can actually access the template and the submission link. They are both available here. This is the proposal template, and this is the submission link. So once the proposal has been displayed or it's submitted by students to the SD committee, so you need to confirm now officially which group of students are going to participate into that project under the advising of a certain panel member. So for this, you need to fill a nomination form, and it has to be submitted to the SD committee. So and this form is also available. Just have to fill the student information and the signature of the academic advisor, not the SD advisor. The SD advisor is on here. So by putting his signature in the project title, the SD advisor officially agrees that he is going to supervise the students whose name is written here in that project. So the submission of the nomination form, you can submit it personally, submit it in my office, or you can do it online. So for the personally, it's going to be a hard copy, and when it's going to be online, means it's going to be a soft copy. It's a scanned paper that has all the required signature of the academic advisor, of the SD advisor, and both methods are accepted. You can submit it on paper, you can submit it online on soft copy, as long as the signature is available in a digital format. Digital is also acceptable. So the list from this nomination form, the list of assigned SD project will be sent from the SD committee. So by the end of this semester, you would receive an Excel sheet that contains the total list of projects. So I have, let's say, 9 projects or 10 projects on SD1, project 1, 2, 3, 4. What are the team members of each project? What is the title of the project? The advisor for the project, the general information, etc. So an example, or that's how you're going to receive it. So you have the list of all projects here, and with all the detailed information. Even the panel member will be determined in advance based on the field of the project. So the panel member can be assigned. So even before you start working on your SD next year, you have an idea of who is going to be your evaluator for the final presentations. So when you receive the file, just make sure that the information is correct, the name, the ID, there is no missing student or extra student. So once you have the project and you know which project you'll be working on under which advisor, that can also facilitate the process of the registration for the in banner, the early registration. Even though for that, it can be or simplified in a way that only one section for in banner will be open. That will be under my name as the SD committee chair, and then based on the list of students, you will be manually moved to the adequate section of SD under the correct name of your SD advisor. So even if you don't find your advisor available in a section in banner, or you have only one section available, there is no need to panic. Register in that only available section, and the registration committee, the academic affairs, will handle all of this administrative task later of moving each student to his correct CRN section. So for this to happen and everything to go smooth, everyone needs to participate in advance. So there is always the problem that students don't respond to email, or they are too late into selecting the nomination form. So even though you have most of the project decided by the end of the semester, we always have some students in the next semester who still didn't find a project or didn't join a team, and they need to look for an advisor or join an existing group. So that's the kind of things that's going to make the work hard for the committee and even for those students. So if you can have everything ready in advance by this semester, so that will avoid all of the technical and administrative issues and all the pressure that's happening in the first weeks of the registration. So in student design, whether student design 1 or student design 2, or even this current semester, before you take the senior design. So the important dates to take note, or should know, the week 5, there is a call for proposal from instructor. In the next week, we accept proposal from students. You probably have received an email about this. In week 10, the proposal will be submitted. Here, the 5, 6, and the 10, they are the working weeks. So the week, for example, where we had the holiday last week, or there was no lectures, that doesn't count as a week. Or the holiday of upcoming Eid, 3 weeks, that will not also be counted. So week 10 actually is week 15 in this semester, which is right after the holiday of Eid, starting from 15 April. So week 14, officially in the semester we have 15 weeks. So before the final week, for the end of the semester by week, all the nomination form should be submitted. So if you have 2 weeks exam this semester, so by the end of the first week of the exam, all of you should have submitted the nomination form, which decides which student is going to work on which project under which SD advisor. And the last week, just before the summer holidays, so the list of SD projects will be announced officially. So you'll receive that Excel sheet that contains the list of all students assigned to their correct or the adequate project and SD advisor. Okay, in semester 7 and 8, so what you will be working in senior design, it's a work extends on 2 semesters, SD1 in semester 1 and SD2 in semester 2. It's continuation of the same project. So the first week will be dedicated to the registration. So if everything has been done correctly and you have submitted the nomination form in this semester, so you should be able to register from the first week on your correct CRN or in the SD. Even if it's not the correct CRN, remember there is no need to flood the Academic Affairs Committee with requests about SD. We are all aware of the issues that you have, that this section is not available or this is not my correct CRN. All what you need is to submit the information to the SD committee, and the SD committee will work with the Academic Affairs Committee to move you manually to the correct CRN and open the section for you. So you don't need to do anything for this case if you have done in semester 6 task correctly. So in the week 9, which is around the middle of the semester, you will have a SD mid presentation. This time it can conflict or will be during the mid period as well. But SD, even though the output of the work is going to be a project presentation, but it is a course with a final exam and a mid exam. So the mid presentation is like a mid exam in here. So it will take place during the mid exams. It's not going to, we are not going to change the time before or after the period of the mid exams. You have to treat it as any other courses with its own mid that you need to prepare for it. And the last week is going to be before the final exam, actually, which is the SD final presentation. So the mid presentation is just to monitor the progress of the work. By the final output of the project, it should be presented in the last week of the semester. So it's not the last week before the final exams. So this also is going to conflict with lab exams. So in the same week that you have lab exams, you will also be having the final presentation of the SD. But you need to arrange or prepare for everything. Lab and the SD, they will be at the same time or at the same week. So even if you postpone the SD to the next weeks, you will still having the final exams for theoretic course that could coincide with the SD. So you can have SD and an exam at the same day or in the next day. So the presentation is going to come during a busy period where you are going to be all stressed under the preparation for all this course exam. But this is another course that you need to give it its own share of interest and prepare for it accordingly. Okay, the matter of the access to the SD lab, this is dedicated for the time being for male students only until a new available room opens up for female. It's on room 2161. That's close to the room 2163 or 2162 on the end of the hall, near the entrance of the college. And it's used when you work on the project's prototype. And also the presentation of SD, most of the presentation will take place into that room as well. But only SD2 students need to access it, because in SD1 there is generally just theory work. You do state of the art, you design the system theoretically, you prove that it is a good design, and after you finish the SD1, you are going to build that design in SD2. So you are going to need the SD lab during the second course only, SD2. So to access it, so you can check the lab technician to open the lab for you, or if it's not available, you can get a copy of the lab key. Now, but to get the key, you need first to sign a form where you agree to not make a copy, you submit or give back the key before the final presentation and so on. Once you fill the form and sign it, you can get a copy of the SD lab key. If there is no more copies left, we have a limited number of keys. In this case, you are allowed to make a copy and keep it with you, but take into account that you have to return it still after or at the end of the presentation of SD2. So you will be allowed to access the lab, but make sure to use it for the task related to your project only. And only your group is allowed to access to the lab. Don't allow any other student that is not of your team to enter the lab. And also you need to give the key back at the end of at the day of the SD2 presentation. Even if you have made a copy of the key, you are still required to return it. Okay, the grading part of the SD, how it's going to be graded. So there are different gradings for SD1 and SD2. In SD1, you will be graded on different rubrics. Deliverables 5%, which is related to the fact of submitting the deliverables on time. There are pre-deliverables before the presentation, and there is post-deliverables after the presentation. And the deadline is announced in advance. So if you submit the deliverables after that deadline, you will be losing this marks. Okay, the mid-evaluation in the middle of the semester accounts for 15% of the total grade. When you present, who is going to evaluate you? Panel member, 2 faculty members or 3 faculty members, depending on the load that we have. So the grade for the faculty, for the panel members will account for 30% of the total grade, divided between report evaluation and presentation evaluation. The advisor, your SD advisor, has a grade weight of 40%. And there is a grade for no use of plagiarism, which account to 10%. Okay, for SD2, the deliverables or the rubrics of evaluation are quite similar. So deliverables 5%, the mid evaluation 15%. The evaluation for panel and advisor is reduced slightly. That's because there is a new rubric added in SD2, which is a poster. So in the addition of report and presentation in SD2, you are required to draw or design a poster. There is no need to make a complex poster. It can be done even with PowerPoint. And we have the plagiarism, no use of plagiarism, which accounts also for 10%. Okay, now I have mentioned a lot the word of deliverables, so which means what you are going to give at the end of each senior design. So these are the files to deliver to the SD committee before and after the presentation. So there are two types, the before or the pre-deliverables, and that's mainly what the panel member will need. So before the presentation, you must submit before 1 week the report, or if there is a poster for SD2. So the panel member need time to read and review them. And after, so during the presentation, panel members will have comments to improve your work. So you need to implement this comments in your report or your presentation when you submit your post deliverables. So the deadline usually is 1 week for the pre-deliverables before the SD presentation. And for the post deliverables, it's 1 week after the presentation is done. If we do the presentation late, so let's say we do it just 3 days before the holidays. In this case, the deadline will be just 3 days, because banner entering the grade will close at a certain time, and the part of your grade is incomplete if you didn't submit the deliverables. So you should submit it. This way the grade can be completed and can be sent to your SD advisor so they can enter it on banner. And the grading, so the 5% is 2 points for the pre-deliverables and 3 points for the post-deliverables. So in SD1, what you should deliver. So in the pre-deliverables, you submit the report, the plagiarism report, and the proof that you have done completed the survey. There is a program evaluation survey that is available to students after you finish 100 credit hours. So you should take a screenshot when you finish the survey to prove that you have done it. And this survey is available just one time. After you fill it, the next semester, it won't be available anymore. So that screenshot, you must keep it with you, because you are still required to submit it, even for SD2. So after the presentation, if there is any comments from the panel member, whether in the report or in the poster, you include them. And you should also submit the presentation that you have used in your SD presentation in general. For SD2, the same content, but extra is the poster, whether for the before or the after the presentation. And when you submit these files, you must submit the original format. Don't submit PDF. These are not going to be accepted. It must be a Word document for report, for the presentation, PowerPoint, for the poster. It depends. If you are going to submit PowerPoint, you're going to submit a PPTX file. If you are going to design the poster using Photoshop, in this case, you submit the PSD file or the AI file for Adobe Illustrator. Couple it with eBash as an extra if you want. So you can submit the PDF as a supplement, but the original format, Word, PowerPoint, Photoshop, and so on, they must also be included in your submission. So if you submit part of the deliverables and the other part is not submitted, in this case, you don't get 0, but you won't get the full mark either. So you'll get it just part of the one that you have submitted on time. You'll be graded for them. The one that you didn't submit on time, you'll not get any grade of them, but you are still required to submit them. So if anyone thinks, if I'm not going to get a grade for it, then what's the point of submitting it? The files must be complete to be able to present. So if there is any deliverables of those that is missing, your presentation is cancelled. You're going to get an IC grade. Okay, the hard copy of the report. That depends on the panel member. Most panel members are okay with digital copy, so you don't need to waste money printing your report. But it doesn't hurt to verify. Talk with your panel member. Do you want a hard copy or you are fine with a soft copy? If he tells bring me hard copy, you print one for them. But if he tells you I'm fine, then there is no need to print it. Okay, for the poster, you must submit the hard copy and soft copy. So you're going to submit online all the deliverables, but for the poster, as a paper, A3 color format, you bring it to the SD committee. So if the deliverables are not submitted on time, so you can be late. You are not going to get a grade for the deliverables timely submission, but still, if you are very late, so you are supposed to submit just 1 week before the presentation, and you submit it 1 day or 2 days before the presentation. So this tardiness is not accepted, and in this case, the involved group will get an IC grade, meaning that they have to present their work at the beginning of the next semester, and then the IC grade will be replaced with the real grade. It will not appear on the transcript that you got IC or you got DP or anything. So for the survey, you will take a screenshot and save it with you, because if it's available for this semester, it's not for the next semester, so you need to have it always. Okay, for the talking quickly about the mid evaluation, so its objective here is to keep track of a student's progress and to motivate them to work at a regular pace. So most of the time, only when someone is pressured by a deadline, he will start working. So if you have a deadline of 7 weeks, you can start working in the week 6 and 7. If you have a deadline of 20 weeks, you will work on weeks 19 and 20, the last 2 weeks, the last possible moment, as always. So as a mid-evaluation here, we want to be sure that students are meeting regularly with their SD advisor and they are working every week, not just at the last weeks before the SD presentation. And it accounts for 15% of the total grade. And you just need a progress presentation. The report is not needed. And for the poster, also we don't need a final version of the poster, just a draft to show that you have started working on it. And it usually takes place at the middle of the semester. So week, sometimes I have listed 8, 9, and 10, depending on how long the semester is. And if we include the holidays into the weeks or not, but it's in the middle in general. So okay, just tell the difference between semester and trimester, because I mentioned the word trimester in the slide previously. It was trimester style last year. We are back now to semester, but just in case to have the difference, in case we go back to trimester one day, the evaluation is still remain the same. We still have two senior design, but it's divided into less time. Okay, for the evaluation of the mid presentation, so your main grade rubrics are inspired from the ABET quality organization. So you need to show that for SD1 that you have identified and formulated the program, the project, sorry, that you have progressed in the design of the system. It's the middle. I'm not expecting you to have finalized, but at least that you are starting or making progress in it. Clarity of communication, that's universal in every presentation. You should be able to have good presentation skills. You need to have the consideration of ethics, society, and contemporary issues. So what's the impact of your project on these levels? Need to highlight the teamwork and show the task distribution. What is the role of each member of the team? And you need to show that you understand the project, whether its objective, importance, what are the disciplines that you need to master, etc. So this is going to be mainly tested during the question answer. When the panel member asks a question, so students should be able to answer these questions if they understand their project properly at that time. Other projects, the quarterly application of new knowledge and the completion of the project task. So let's say you have 4 tasks in semester in SD1. You should be expected to finish at least 2 during the mid presentation. Okay, for SD2, it's still inspired from the same rubrics. So the objective is to monitor if you are making any progress. If you have a prototype, you show a version, even if it's not the final one, just what you have obtained so far. And you will be also evaluated as SD2 students. You should be mastering your work by that time. So you should show that or highlight that when being asked by the panel members. Okay, now the final presentation at the last week. So it will take place usually in the same design lab 2161, and that applies for both males and females, not just males, as long as it is just presentation. So there are other possible rooms, like the department meeting room, my office, or other panel members' office who is big enough to hold the presentation and all the students, etc. So the duration for the mid evaluation and the final evaluation for SC1 and for SC2 is laid bare on you. So there is a time for the setup. So we come before the actual time to prepare your computer, connect to the internet if you need to download something, connect the cable to the video projector, have the presentation ready. All of this takes time. We are giving you 5 minutes to set up this. The presentation, okay, for the mid evaluation, for SD1 it's 10 minutes, for SD2 it's 15 minutes. The question answer session, so for SD1 10 minutes, for SD2 5 minutes. The total time that's going to be spent for every SD project in general for the mid evaluation will not exceed 25 minutes. For the final evaluation and the last week, so the time will be around 50 minutes for SD1 and 1 hour for SD2. So the time is for the final presentation is always 15 minutes. For SD2, you have extra 5 minutes if you have a prototype and you are going to demonstrate how that prototype works. And coupled with a question and answer session from the panel member who is going to ask you questions about your work. So for the preparation for the SD presentation, you need to be on time. So if a group gets 5 minutes late, then this group gets 5 minutes late. So in total for a 12 project, we are going to end up 1 hour late in total on the schedule. And it's a long day. When you have 12 projects, it means we start from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. to be able to finish all the presentation into one single day. Also for the presentation, always have a backup. So whether have your own PC or have another PC or have it on a USB drive. So in case any problem happen, you can quickly get the presentation ready on another computer to start the presentation. And you need to have the appropriate adapters. So most of the connection in the computers or the data show here is VGA. But on your computers, probably the new models, you don't have that port anymore. You have HDMI, you have display, mini display, USB-C, but definitely not VGA. So you should have, if you are going to use your own computer, you should bring the adapter. If you have HDMI only on your laptop, bring the HDMI to VGA adapter. So don't expect these adapters to be available. If they are available, it's just because one of the panel members happens to have one with him. It's a coincidence, but it is your responsibility in general to have these adapters ready. While it's not mandatory, but if you have a wireless presenter so that you can control the slides from a distance, that's going to be good, especially that for the communication rubric, which matters a lot in terms of body language or eye contact or communication in general. So being stuck to your computer or or asking your teammates to move on back and forth into a slide, that's not going to look good in terms of presentation skills. And also try to join the room in advance. Even if there is a presentation that is currently taking place, you are allowed to enter the room. Just be quiet and don't disturb the current presentation, and you can go. And most importantly, you have to be presentable professionally. So it's not looking good. Imagine going to an interview when you are wearing this tie, or even wearing like this. So that's not the appropriate dress code. So this is the presentation, but it's a formal one, a professional one. That's going to be your migration to the professional world. So you should start acting as one. So these are examples of appropriate dress code that should be acceptable. For females, I think there is no dress code. It's going to be abaya, I think. Okay, the SD evaluation, the rubric or the grade is announced already, but this is just a detailed rubric on how are you going to be evaluated on each part, whether for the advisor or for the panel member on SD1 and on SD2. By the way, all of this are available on the website. So on here, so for instructor, the advisor form, the mid-evaluation form, the panel form, all of those, so they are the forms that are going to be used for evaluation, and they contain already the grading, the rubrics, and what is the weight of each one of them. So you can know in advance on what point should you focus or what you should avoid to get a good grade in SD in general. So for a panel member is evaluating you on a report and the presentation. For SD2, the it's still the same. Rubrics, there is quite a little difference, mainly related to the fact that for SD2, you are expected to have a prototype, so there is the grade on the prototype itself, whether during the report or during the presentation. So the last one, demonstration of design. And also, there will be grade for poster. Okay, for the report, so that's part of the SD deliverables. There is a template that is provided by the college, and you should use it. Most of you will say it's not looking good. I don't like it myself, but that's the one decided by the SD committee at the college level. So we have to abide by this template, even if we don't like it. When you use the reference, make sure to use the proper citation style. If you want to use the software to help you in this case, you can use it, like EndNote. And the template, it have a variable style. So style for title 1, title 2, level 3, 4, and so on. This can help you in the report formatting and to create your summary or table of content. You can use an appendix if you need it. And also pay attention to the plagiarism while writing the report. Okay, for the presentation, there is no one formula or one specific guide to follow on what to do in the presentation. Just general ones, such as choosing adequate background. So usually dark background and white text is not recommended. It's not going to look good, especially that in the room you cannot turn off the light. If there is a motion sensor, any movement in the light, even if you turn it off, it will go on instantly. So in this case, the best background is the light background, some of whitish color and a black text. And make sure to use all the space within the slide. Don't leave empty space, and then the other space is too much crowded. The acceptable size that is readable for font is 24. And you need to make sure that the slide number is visible, because sometimes the panel member has a question on a certain slide. So having the slide number clear or visible everywhere is important. Also, you should avoid the long sentence, use of paragraph, and most importantly, don't read from the slides. So if you read from the slides, so that's a big no in the field of communication. So it doesn't give the panel member any reason to listen to you anymore. They will just read the slides. So even if there is something that you are going, you say that it's not part of the slide, they did not hear it because they stopped listening to you. They are just reading the slide. If you can, because the light effect can be different. The light of the sun can impact the quality of the slides. So if you can enter the room where you're going to make the presentation in advance, try to do that so you can test and see how the slides will look like. Do you need to improve the background and text or not? So this is applicable especially in the SD Lab room 2161. Okay, for the poster, that's for SD2 deliverables. It's a visual representation of the project, and you have to make a poster in English and in Arabic. The templates are available for each one of them. And they are already set with this dimension in PowerPoint. The width is 90 centimeter and the height is 111 or 1 meter 10 centimeter. So these are examples of posters. So there are fonts that are available that you can use, and it's going to make the poster look good. So whether for English letters or for Arabic letters. Okay, so for Arabic, so these fonts Tajawul and Al-Marai, they are the ones used in the website of KFU. So having the poster looking into that same appearance is good. So these are examples of poster that use these fonts. Okay, at the end of the year here in the college, we have an SD exhibition, which is the annual event of the college. So it's held at the last semester, in the spring semester, where students will present their work, especially SD2 students. So for this, you are supposed to have the poster with the same template as the one used in the SD presentation and a physical prototype. So even if you didn't finish your SD work yet for SD2, you should have at least first version or a beta version of the prototype that you can show during that exhibition. Okay, for the plagiarism, it's mentioned before that there is 10% grade for the plagiarism. So the plagiarism is what in general? That's the fact of using a word that's not yours. So literally copy paste from the internet or from any other source. So this not a good practice to do. So even if you got an idea from the internet, you are still recommended, okay, put it, but don't copy paste. Rewrite it with your own style or with your own understanding. So the SD committee will perform a check if the advisor must do it first. So even the plagiarism, you can have intentional plagiarism like this, where you literally copy paste a whole sentence or a whole paragraph. But there is some accidental plagiarism. Plagiarism software, sometimes they can be stupid. So just a succession of 3 words is considered as plagiarism, even though it's not really plagiarism. That's general words, like in this case, as shown in figure. This word or this sentence you're going to have it repeated many times in your report, as shown in figure 1, as shown in figure 3.2, etc. That's what is considered as accidental plagiarism, but still try to reduce. You cannot never have 0% plagiarism, but if you avoid the copy paste and just write your own words, plagiarism will be very small, less than 10%. So we expect that there is some plagiarism, but the limit that you must not exceed is 25%. So if it is 24%, you get the 10 marks on the plagiarism rubric, but 25% and beyond, you are going to get 0 on the plagiarism rubric. So pay sure to attention to this part. So always have the plagiarism checked, whether by external software or by your advisor, to make sure that when you submit the plagiarism report, it's less than 25%. So the plagiarism will be checked at different levels by the students, by the SD advisor, and ultimately by the SD committee. So how it's going to be detected? The advisor, there is a tool on Blackboard that can be used to detect the plagiarism. Or there is a plagiarism checker that the senior design committee use. Okay, other rubric really is the funding. So there are different ways you can get funding from the college, from the university in general, not the college. So you can ask for a grant from the Deanship of Scientific Research, DSR. So it's 500 real per project, but if the project has a potential to be commercialized, it's 500 per student, not per project. And you need to have the invoice with the KFU name and mentioned in the acknowledgement. There is also a student affairs deanship. So there is the cost estimation form that you fill. We submit it to the student affairs and wait for the response. They can accept or they can reject. But to be realistic, there is little to no chance to get any fund from any source. So you can hear a lot of excuses not coming from us, it's from above us. There is no budget, or no one is following the state of submission of request, and a lot of bureaucracy in general. So in this what can we do? Okay, we tried a lot of things and we didn't get any result. So to be realistic, there is nothing we can do. Just don't expect any source of fund, and you need to use your own money to if there is anything that you need to buy for this project. But try to prepare for this in advance. So let's say if you are a group of 5 students, so if the cost of the SD project is 1,000 riyal, so it means the share for each student is going to be 200 riyals, and this 200 riyals for the whole year, not just one semester. So dividing this over the whole year and managing your expense. So let's say putting away 20 riyal every month for the budget from your reward, that should be able to cover the cost for building the prototypes of the SD project. Okay, now the survey. So there are many surveys that you are going to do in the course. So you have the indirect assessment, which you already do in every course already. So you are going to do for SD1 and SD2. There is a program evaluation survey that's supposed to be available on Blackboard. The evaluation of scenario design as a research SOS, that also should be available at the last semester. And there is a general course evaluation survey. Okay, the summary of all of this information is available in this website, the one I've shared with you, whether I showed you or I sent you to link to it. So all the information are going to be there. Even if there is updates, there is a new form, there is a new template, there is something new requirements. It's still on the same website, but the content is going to change to reflect this new updates. So your journey is about to end. Okay, because this is probably the last thing after you finish SD. Usually SD2 are graduate students. So this is their last semester, or maybe just one semester after SD2. So the most difficult course are already behind you. So last year course, level 4 core and SD, so are considered a piece of cake compared to what you have gone through so far. So good luck in the end. Okay, there is this link that you can use to evaluate this presentation of this today's event. I don't know if there is any time left. I'm still available after the presentation time if any of you have questions or need clarification for this presentation. And thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Salim. If anyone have a question, you can open your mic or write in the chat. I think there is no questions, so we can end.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Salim.
Yes, this presentation is available on that website. It's EE guidelines.